One, and we are recording on Sunday, September 7th, 2025 at 11:10 a.m. Eastern Time with Miss Claire Lopez. And I always rely on you. You guys can go to the description. Please go follow her on Twitter. I always rely on you for news updates, but I feel you just said you have been busy as well. So I think we're both you welcome to how I come into shows, which is totally unprepared and totally in the blind, but that's the most I know. Just like I don't know. I feel like whatever the biggest news stories are will eventually kind of seep in through osmosis if you're not looking for them. And I guess what see somewhere in the periphery of my consciousness is it's still a big thing that troops are in DC. And I think I saw last night something about I don't know, a giant private corporation investment in the United States in the coming. That was so big it warranted a statement from Trump. I don't know if that's real. Um, I'll shut up and hand it over to you, Claire.
Okay. Yeah, I've been following things as best I can too. As you can see, I'm all ready actually for another event today where I'm going up in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And I'll mention what this is. This marks this event today held at a hotel up there in D.C. marks the 60th anniversary of the founding of the largest, oldest, best organized of all the Iranian opposition groups, the Mujahideen-e-Khalq. And they're a member of a larger political umbrella group, opposition to the regime group, called the National Council of Resistance of Iran, NCRI. And it's from these groups that over the many, many years now, I've been associated with them for 20 years, but this is their 60th anniversary of the founding of the MEK. But over the years, they're the ones that have been responsible for the revelations about the Iranian nuclear weapons program and, of course, the accompanying ballistic missile program. And all these press conferences that they have held, very open, providing the information about the different sites. For example, were the very first to reveal the very existence of Natanz. Been in the news lately as one of those sites that were struck by both Israel in Operation Rising Lion and also by the United States, a few days later, week later, in Operation Midnight Hammer. Natanz, a centrifuge enrichment site buried, two halls called A and B, buried deep underground, but they were hit by both Israel and then, of course, the B 2 bombers using those great big GBU 57 bunker buster bombs by the United States. So that's out of commission, at least for a while, at Natanz. But point here that it was the Iranian opposition. The MEK is on the ground inside of Iran, inside of penetrating the nuclear weapons program, and the NCRI, the broader umbrella group that has its U.S. offices, for example, in downtown D.C., a couple blocks from the White House, actually, on Pennsylvania Avenue at 18th Street. So the existence of Natanz, the existence of how many other of Iran's nuclear weapons facilities, including Fardo, for example, another one of those hit by both the Israelis and the U.S. recently. And that one, too, buried deeply underground under a mountain, but another centrifuge facility. And again, out of commission for at least a while. So this is the group that I'm talking about. On the ground inside of Iran, the MEK, the Mujahideen, have a large organization, network of really, they look to me like young people. I mean, really young people who've, had it up to here with this mullah's regime and want nothing more than to be rid of it so they can live free and independent like other countries in the world, wear what they want, wear their hair the way they want, not have to cover up their hair if you're girls. Um, and so that's where I'm headed this afternoon, where I'll be speaking at the 60th anniversary commemoration celebration of the Mujahideen Khalq.
I had misheard you when you started saying that. I thought for I don't know. I think I auto completed in my mind Muslim Brotherhood because
Oh no.
you just said the largest. I think immediately I was like, oh, the largest kind of what we
No,
talk
no, no.
about.
This is
Like
well, here's an interesting
I was so
connection.
confused. I was like, wait, they're in DC, and I
No,
was
no,
like,
no, no.
Claire's
Well,
part of
they're
it.
everywhere. That's true. If you're talking about the Muslim Brotherhood, yes, they are everywhere. But
Yeah, but not that you're
this
involved.
is what I'm talking about, the Mujahideen Ikhalq or MEK. A connection for us. The regime leadership in Tehran, in Iran, are followers of the 12th Imam. In Shiite Islamic eschatology, the 12th Imam is the 12th in a line, father, son, on down after, as they believe, from Muhammad himself. The last one in the ninth century was a little boy, and he either fell into a well and drowned, or perhaps was held in hiding by his family because they were afraid he'd be assassinated. In any case, he never appeared, and there are no heirs. What to do? So, what the Shiites of the Twelver persuasion say, the leadership of Iran, is that that 12th Imam really isn't dead. He's in occultation or hiding. And he's here. He's all around us. You can't see him, but he's there too with you and me too.
Okay.
And he is the identity they give, the Shiite followers of the 12th Imam give to the Islamic messianic figure called the Mahdi. So Sunnis also believe in this messianic figure, the Mahdi, but they don't give him any particular identity. He's just a descendant of Muhammad, and he'll come back at the end of times to usher in the day of judgment. But the Shiite Twelvers, that is, followers of the 12th Imam, give him that specific, the Mahdi, that specific identity of the 12th Imam. But here's the kicker. They, that is the regime leadership in Iran, the senior clerical leadership, the senior military, especially IRGC, the Quds Force, and the judiciary leadership in Iran, they all believe that not only that the 12th Imam is the Mahdi, the messianic figure, who will come back at the end of times and, as they say, break the cross and kill the pig. That's what they say. Break the cross is kill all remaining Christians, kill the pig, the Jews. But not only that that's the messianic figure, the Mahdi, but that they can hasten his return to earth sooner than he otherwise might have come back by instigating enough chaos and warfare, Armageddon, on earth that he'll feel compelled to come back and set it all straight. Now, this is the belief of the senior regime leadership of, of a regime that is driving for a deliverable nuclear
Nuclear.
weapon.
That's
Now,
good.
here's the last kicker to all of this. The current front runner in the mayoral race for New York City is a Shiite Muslim by the name of Zohran Mamdani. His parents, uh, they had been in Uganda, but originally the parents were from Pakistan. It's a bit of a convoluted story, but ages ago, Shiites in Yemen, who were followers of the seventh Imam or Ismailis, had to flee Yemen long time ago, and they settled on the western coast of Pakistan. That's where Zohran Mamdani's parents come from. But they then left Pakistan and went to Uganda. For what reason, I don't know. But that's where he was born, Zohran Mamdani, born to his Pakistani parents in Uganda. And then he, of course, came to the United States. Well, they are Shiite Ismailis, the family, and he by birth. But in a November 2019 tweet, when it was still called Twitter, Mamdani posted, I love my Ismailis, his sect of Islam, Shiite, but actually I'm an Ithna Ashari. Ithna Ashara in Arabic means 12. He's a
Uh,
12er. Zohran Mamdani is a 12er. He is just like the Ayatollahs in Iran who want to bring back the Mahdi by
by
instigating Armageddon.
and he wants to have control or as much control as one can get over the largest city in the United States and the NYPD,
Yeah.
which is one of the largest standing armies in the world just by numbers. And that would also negate, I would imagine, or at least reduce the need for a very far payload if you just had a guy on the inside who maybe didn't care what happened to ports. If he wants things to be chaotic, he would, I don't know, allegedly want a fission bomb in and around that city.
Well, we might want to think about this on top of the fact that Zohran Mamdani is also a self-avowed communist
Huh.
who wants the government to seize means of production,
Which is kind of the same playbook, cause chaos and then bring in the
redistribute
solution.
wealth, yeah, through confiscatory taxation, run government-run grocery stores. How'd that work out in Cuba and Mao's China and Stalin's Russia, et cetera, Maduro's Venezuela? So that's who's running for mayor. And in the lead, at least by the polls we're seeing at the moment. If I might put in a plug, I'll reference our viewers, our listeners, if they would like more information about this. Go to the website of theunitedwest.org.
I already have that in the
Theunitedwest.org.
description. Yeah, for all your
Loads of
episodes.
information there about all of this I've been telling you.
Yeah, that's in the. I recognize it because
Thank you.
that's in the
Excellent.
description of every episode we do. Yeah, and I mean, in terms of just respecting your enemy, it's a great move. I mean, think about it. If at the core of it, it's because I think that's the first episode you and I ever did was about the Club K missile system, but it was about
Oh yeah,
get a
that's right.
nuclear weapon,
Yeah,
get a
yeah, yeah.
missile, get the ability to miniaturize the nuclear weapon on which is the most basic. That's the entire. That's essentially 1945 to 1990. That's like all of history kind of summed up right there. Is big bomb delivery, deliver bomb. If they wanted that, and we clearly see that they do, and we know they want that, proven further by the facts that we're willing to go bomb them with our most expensive, most valuable air assets. And if their end goal is to cause chaos, I mean, that's what I would do. If I was them and I went, listen, they're going to keep bombing our facilities. Every time we make an advance with missiles, they're going to make an advance with anti-missile systems. How are we going to get this? If the end goal is to get this bomb near a place that would cause the most chaos, which by definition would be New York or DC, LA, just by like population size or power, Boston, you would want to get it there. And if there's an issue with the technical aspect of getting it there, another way you could do that is, and this is just what I would do, I would try to get one of my own people to like run that city to the highest echelon possible because then you could, I don't know, sabotage security, make exceptions, diplomatic privacy. That's what I would do. And
Yeah, I mean, it's
that
a
sounds insane, but if you
no,
truly believe that this isn't for like profit, if you truly believe this is for the different kind of profit, for, the creator of heaven and earth, if you truly believe that, why wouldn't you do that?
I mean, it sounds insane, absolutely. And I'm afraid that too many of would-be voters in New York City really don't know what either communism or the Shiite Twelver beliefs are. And hopefully, maybe they'll listen, pay attention. This is serious. This guy is a disaster waiting to happen.
For the group you were talking about, and you said they're what the MEK,
Yeah, Mujahideen Ikhalq.
you said they were the ones what did
They
they do with
have
Natanz? They
they're
found
the inside.
okay.
They are in the inside of the Iranian nuclear weapons program, the leadership of the regime. You saw how the Israelis were able to take out senior scientific figures, remember, back in Operation Rising Lion, as well as to strike these various nuclear weapons and ballistic missile sites. That's intelligence on the ground that they collected. And, well, maybe there's a connection there.
That's pretty impressive. I thought it was just like a random like awareness group.
Oh,
That's
no.
pretty intense to
Oh,
be
no.
involved in like infiltrating the Iranian nuclear weapons
Completely.
program. That's
And
not
the
okay.
regime is in a panic. I mean, they're at panic stations right now as well. They should be because not only have they lost all of their Islamic jihadi proxies, the terror groups like Hamas, pretty much done for. last battles going on in Gaza City right now. Hezbollah, which has been seriously degraded. Houthis, likewise, seriously degraded. So Iran doesn't have its proxies anymore, nor does it have its air defenses anymore, which Israel, the IAF, Israeli Air Force, also took out both last year in 2024 in a pair of operations, April and then in October of 2024, and then now this year in Operation Rising Lion. Um, the air defenses are gone. And they're not being replaced in terms of things like the S-300 system, which came from Russia, that is, kind of otherwise occupied at the moment, not replacing that. Maybe others are pitching in, like China, to try to, help reconstitute Iran's defense capabilities. But really, they've lost all of that. Um, and the only thing left for them, really, is this drive pell-mell to a deliverable nuclear weapons capability.
What does pell mell mean?
It just means going as fast as you can.
Right, yeah, the
It's
beelining.
an
All right,
old English
yeah.
term.
Got it. Yeah. Oh yeah. Um, yeah, so I guess I'm kind of impressed because when you said you're going to meet with this like group in DC, I just imagine it was something like I don't know, like Turning Point USA, where it's like young conservatives talking at colleges. No, this is like infiltrating a nuclear powers weapons system. That's insane. I had
Well,
written it off as like this was like
that's what they do.
this is like campus Republicans type thing. No, that's
No,
wild.
no, no. And then, I
That's
mean,
insane.
and I've attended these in person over the last months of this year and back into last year. They hold at that office I told you about in downtown DC open press conferences inviting all the media who'd like to come to send representatives and or to follow online through Zoom, live briefings, live press conferences to include satellite imagery and specific information as they collect it about these different sites. And I've been to a number of those. And if you go again, one more plug, if I
United
may,
West.
to my Newsmax blog site, which is called In Defense of Liberty, Newsmax blog site. I have written there each time I attended one of these press briefings. I think was December last year, 24. Then when was the next one? I don't know, February maybe, another one in May. Forget exactly the dates, but several. And after each one, I wrote them up, and you'll find those write-ups at my blog site,
Let me make sure.
Newsmax, In Defense of Liberty.
Let me make sure I have that in the because most of the times I only like make a description for a guest the first time they're on, and then I just copy paste. Let me make sure. Defendtheborder.org, United West, America.
It's a lot, I
Yeah.
know, but
No,
thank
no,
you.
no. I don't. No, I don't care. I don't think I have the Newsmax one. Defend the Border,
Maybe
United
not.
West. Just what is it again? Just to make sure I.
It's Newsmax blog sites, and mine is called In Defense of Liberty
All
with
right.
my name attached to it.
All right. I just want to make sure I have it. I don't want to leave you hanging. Yeah, that's gotta be kind of demoralizing for Iran,
I
right?
hope so.
Well, yeah, no, but yeah, right, just kind of just detached for a moment. You expect that from foreign intelligence services. You'd be like, yeah, if you found out, China was, well, they are, but just, pick a random whatever institute in DC and you found out that China was in, you'd be like, yeah, that makes sense because we do that to them too. That's got to be it's got to be a real sock in the gut to be like yeah, like a volunteer organization is infiltrating our weapon system. You gotta feel pretty stupid if you're Iran.
Well, I think they certainly do feel vulnerable. They know they've been penetrated. Repeatedly, the regime leadership takes aim at, talks about, condemns outright the Mujahideen Khalq. They know who they are. They know that they're active inside of the regime itself, including the nuclear weapons program, and that they are vulnerable. They're at their
I
weakest now, probably that regime, than they've ever been since the revolution in 1979.
guess a better way to word it is where did Trump send U.S. Navy warships off the coast somewhere in South America the last week?
Off the coast of Venezuela in the Caribbean.
Yeah, and so Venezuela is posting all these. like propaganda things of like we will not be intimidated. I think it's Maduro, and he's surrounded by a bunch of like soldiers, but the soldiers don't have helmets, weapons, or body armor. And I think I'm not in the military. I've never been in the military. I've never even been in an ROTC. I have a biology degree, and yet I have more weapons in my bedroom than they have. And people are like, well, they're not allowed to have them because it's, and I'm like, that's if I'm Venezuela, I would be demoralized by just seeing me, a random dude in Maine with an AR-15. I'd be like, oh, they're civilians. That's what I mean by demoralized. Like you always expect a foreign intelligence service to be prodding and
Well, if if
prying at
if,
you.
if you suspect your own bodyguards,
Well, that's the other thing. Why, how come they don't have weapons?
you're in a bad way.
You're in a
But
very bad way.
the point about Venezuela is that Nicolas Maduro, the dictator of Venezuela, where full disclosure, I served in Caracas back in 1990 and to 1990 to 1992. But Maduro, the successor to Hugo Chavez, who died of cancer in 2013, Maduro has been the dictator ever since. Maduro is the leadership. He's the leader of a narco trafficking cartel called the Cartel de los Soles, the Cartel of the Suns. And his regime is completely actively involved in narco trafficking, which is where that boat that they caught out in the open waters in international waters, where it came from. Been tracked since it left a Venezuelan port and headed up towards the United States. They are no more. But that regime of Nicolas Maduro also will recall emptied its prisons, literally emptied its prisons, and told its convicts, its criminals, go
Go
up to the
north.
United States, al norte, and do not come back. And that is where we get the prison gang called Tren de Aragua.
Got it.
And they are now, of course, all over the United States in every major city, lots of not major cities involved in human trafficking, child trafficking, and of course, narco trafficking too.
Yeah, and I think I think it was when he was on Rogan last year. I think Trump said that, and which is kind of one of
Mhm.
the reasons why I always like him is just the kind of the practicality of where he goes like, hey, it's the right move. You're getting rid of a burden on your own system and you're weakening your enemy. He's like, objectively, it's the right move, but that has to stop. And is it? I mean, I know the Coast Guard is always, stopping those narco subs, which
Mhm.
themselves are wildly impressive. All the different, and it's kind of a trope for the last 50 years, right? It's like if you're off Miami, you pull in something covered in duct tape, like it's coke. Is that a? Is this a an escalatory step in that we airstruck one of them, or that we like showed it? I'm sure we've done it before. I've never been aware of anything other
Yeah,
than like
what
interception.
the policy previously had always been to interdict. You mentioned the Coast Guard,
Yeah.
interdict those cigarette boats, as they
Yeah.
call,
Yeah. Yeah.
and their cargo and the people in them. Um, but that has proved ineffective, and so this is the first time that I know of that one of those narco boats and all their cargo and people in them have been sent to the bottom of the Caribbean Sea.
Yeah, that's definitely. Yeah, no, it's awesome. I mean, that's what you have to do. You have to do that. If they're doing this on your board, you have to do that. And that's got to be, and then the very fact that, it was posted online itself, that's kind of a saber rattling. Like not only are we going to do it, we're going to humiliate you as we do it. And that's what should be done. There's a
It's
hundred
got to
percent.
be a deterrence now to anyone else
You're
who
not just
might
going to
have
be
thought
arrested.
of following on after them. That's really got to be, a serious deterrent factor that they're going to have to think about before they set off al norte in one of those little boats.
That is a good point because a lot of I mean, again, from whatever little I know, just from reading or documentaries, a lot of that stuff is like, okay, if you get caught, you're kind of screwed. But if you don't, you can take care of your family, you can come back and get a nice paycheck from it. The deterrence has never been you're going to be vaporized.
Hmm.
It's always been
Hmm.
you're going to get arrested. And hey, man, if you're going to spend life in prison somewhere, United States isn't a bad place to do it. Maybe like Sweden. But other than that, it's not a bad, honestly, it might be an improvement from where you're from. It's a
And
whole
I don't
different
even
level.
know that they got life sentences, those
Yeah,
caught,
yeah, yeah. Worst
in the
case. Or
interdiction operations.
yeah, I'm sure they were probably let
What
go.
happened to them? Or
I'm
were they simply repatriated? I don't
Uh,
know.
I would imagine with past administrations it was just repatriate based on nothing, just my own assumptions and biases. But yeah, that's another step though.
Hmm.
To vaporize it and then not even let's say you don't post that or acknowledge it. You're never gonna, if you're Venezuela or if you're those gangs, you're never gonna let people know that. You don't want your people to
Yeah,
know that.
yeah.
That's a whole other thing when the U.S. government tweets it,
Yep.
like an infrared,
It's
you
been
know,
seen everywhere by now.
that's another level of yeah, I would say deterrence. And in terms of the why is it that we sent like why now? Why did we send warships off Venezuela? Why are we doing this? Regardless of the interdiction, or which and maybe they can't be separated, but why did we send warships down there? Is this
Yeah.
part and
Well, I
parcel
mean, there
for
may be more to this than is, publicly announced.
yeah.
We know, for example, that there are other forces inside of Venezuela, including Cuban intelligence, including China, including I'm sorry, including Iran and Hezbollah. So there are a lot of hostile forces operating inside of Venezuela. And to what extent things may have escalated, shall we say, inside of Venezuela, even. Maybe that has something to do with the increase in our own force presence, naval force presence in the area.
Yeah, that's the thing is like I never, and by design, and you never entirely know what it is. There's always face value stuff, and there's kind of just the general mechanisms of being the hegemon in the world, or at least your hemisphere. But
Well,
yeah,
I mean, what we're seeing, and I saw this in some kind of a posting, I think just maybe this morning or yesterday, is that what President Trump is doing is reasserting the Monroe Doctrine,
hmm
which goes way back, many, many years. But it basically means that the United States of America will not tolerate threats to the United States in this hemisphere, the Western Hemisphere. In times past, that may have, in the time of the Monroe Doctrine, have applied more to European powers, like British or the Spanish or the French,
sure.
perhaps. But today, it's a different set of characters, but it's the Monroe Doctrine. And Trump is enforcing that for the first time in I don't know how long that any president has actually taken that Monroe Doctrine seriously and begun to seriously enforce it. But that's what President Trump is doing.
Yeah, as well as he should. Um, and then last, I don't even know time. No, we still have time. Um, because I don't know anything about other than like the tweet I saw a week or two ago of Tulsi Gabbard talking about Crossfire Hurricane, all the what are the dossiers and the documents and the this, the that, and the other thing, and which feels like a lifetime ago, but all the things that we all kind of had a hunch about, but hunches don't really matter in court. What matters is the actual documentation of using these dossiers, paying for this from, you know, to have this come out, and therefore we're going to use the national intelligence apparatus to investigate or to stop or censor this. This is Russian disinformation or this is Russian collusion or all of that happening from the existing at the time administration, which would be the Obama administration, to stop an incoming Trump administration, which has never happened that we know of at the highest level. I mean, you always expect tit for tat, dirty tricks. That's not dirty tricks. That's not the 2 a.m. political commercial paid for by Bill Clinton and, whatever. This is a wild attempt at a preemptive coup.
Yeah.
And I mean, man, if you do that, you have to succeed because you don't want to be on the receiving end of treason charges, which is seemingly what it is now. Do you have any information on that? I have none because I watched that video. It was just Tulsi Gabbard talking. I think somebody in the who's uh some reporter in the I can't remember his name. Some dude I always see his face. But he said, is this treasonous charges? And she said, well, I'm going to leave that to the DOJ. But then went along to name these things as attempted treason against the Republic of the United States. Is there anything developing on that? I mean,
Oh yeah, there's plenty developing on that. So really, this goes back all the way to the election of 2016, which President Trump won, and the beginning of the operation to sabotage his first term in office, 2017 on. And then, of course, through the Biden administration, and here we are now with the second Trump administration. And as you're naming some of the people now in positions where they can finally do something about it, Director Tulsi Gabbard at the as director of the Office of National Intelligence. You've got Kash Patel, of course, director of the FBI. Um, and very important, Pam Bondi, Attorney General, and more, and their teams, of course. But in terms of the media and who's been doing, a lot of the work, I should say, aside from Congress, let me put them in here in the middle too. James Comer, for example, the chairman of the House Oversight Committee, doing incredibly important work along with Jim Jordan, who's the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee. More important work, and others. I don't mean to skip anybody, but there are lots. And then, of course, I was going to go to the media. And in the media, some of those doing, the most incredible work are, of course, John Solomon at Just the News. And I would also mention Peter Schweitzer, who just appeared on Maria Bartiromo's Sunday morning show, Sunday Morning Futures, it's called, hosted this morning, as it was, by former House Representative Jason Chaffetz. But so those two reporters stand out for me, John Solomon and also Peter Schweitzer. I don't mean to be leaving out others who are also doing incredible work, but those two really top the list.
yeah, those are wild statements. I mean, the statement itself is, and I don't mean statement by like you or me or somebody on YouTube. I mean, the statement that the Obama administration was involved in a coup to block an
Attempted
incoming
coup.
president. So that alone is a crazy statement to come from the government. It's another thing when who did it come from? Did it come from Bill at the IRS? No, it came from the head, the director of national intelligence. That she didn't that wasn't off the cuff. That's not Trump
No,
didn't
no,
tweet her
not at
after
all
that and
off
go,
the
"Hey,
cuff.
what the hell was that about?" That's
No.
that's wild. Like
Well,
this.
what that comes from is that now that those people we just named, are in those senior leadership positions of the intelligence community and the Trump administration, they are finding documents. Remember the story about a week or so ago that bags full. You know the term burn bags? So in the intelligence community, there are these brown paper bags with red markings on them, and they're called burn bags because you tear up and you throw away classified documents into those bags. You
Torture.
roll it up and staple them, and then you throw them down the chute
It goes to a
that goes
furnace.
straight to the furnace, and they burn up. Burn bags. Well, apparently, at the FBI, Kash Patel and his team found some hidden closed room full of unburned, full burn bags, full of classified material. Now, here's the thing. If someone were to have deliberately destroyed classified material without appropriate authorization or authority, that would be a crime. So perhaps
Obstruction.
why the bags are all sitting there. They're all full of classified documents in the burn bags, but the burn bags were never thrown down into the furnace. Anyway, they found them. And more documents being found digitally as well throughout. And that's where the information is coming from. It's definitely not off the cuff at all, but it's relying on this, treasure trove, I guess thousands of documents that are being discovered one way or another, hard copy paper, unburned, or digital, with the evidence of what those earlier intelligence committee leadership figures were doing.
Yeah, I mean, I've read several books about kind of like the NSA as it pertains to naval intelligence, and it's not burn bags, but they always talk about the mesh wire bags, where it's you shred everything and then you throw them overboard. They go to the bottom of the ocean. They're
Mm,
destroyed by the seawater, and it's also in case you're being tailed or you feel like you're going to
mm.
be boarded after the USS Pueblo thing in the 50s or 60s.
I remember
That
that. Yeah.
changed everything about like next to the desk, you had to have the bag ready and like willing, and that had to be on like a room on like the edge of the ship so it could just go right out. So my point is these aren't new protocols and they're not insignificant protocols. For that not to be burned, I mean the funny assumption is to say, well, that's incompetence, that's DEI.
No, no, no. That was trying to evade violation of the law
That
by not burning. They avoided violating law.
yeah, and I tend to think that stuff like that is somebody that knew what was going on was wrong.
Yeah, for
And it
sure.
was again, it's not, if
No question.
yeah, if I leave my iMac unlocked, that's not necessarily me doing something secret. That's because I'm an idiot and forgot to turn it off when I left the apartment. Something like that, that is somebody who saw everything behind the scenes, what was happening 2016, 2020, a fortified election, and knew that something bad was happening. And
Well, that it was evidence they did not want being made public in any way, shape, or form, and
correct.
yet did not want to break the law by destroying classified material without the authority to do that.
Yeah, that's to me that's action of preserving evidence because there's something deeply corrupt and evil happening.
Looks
That,
that way.
which is awesome. Shout out to that.
But they found it. That's my point here,
Yeah.
that the current new Trump administration leaders are finding all this stuff, and there's apparently lots more to come.
It always does make me think of when did Trump first was he still running for president or was he president when he came out one day randomly? I think it was 2016 or 2017. And he goes, Obama's wiretapping my tower.
Oh, right. I think he was a candidate at that point, so it
Like
probably would have been 2016.
and yeah,
And in fact, that was true.
well, I remember so that I'd only been aware of Trump since he started running at that. I mean, I knew who he was, but I was only
Hmm.
kind of loosely, I wasn't even really that into paying attention to it.
Hmm.
And I just thought he was kind of funny as a character. But I just watched pretty, pretty. I really didn't have didn't lean one way or the other. I just thought he was entertaining, and I always thought he was entertaining that because he was doing things no one else had done. The way he would call things out, but then he always ended up being right. And as it went on, I started to kind of marvel at it, just as the same way you'd marvel at like Michael Jordan. I was like, he only says stuff that he knows is true, that he has the evidence of, and he
Hmm.
makes it intentionally inflammatory and controversial. It takes off like wildfire. And then weeks or months down the road, he has the receipts. And I remember watching him, and I was with my dad. We were watching it, and they're like, Trump comes out and says Obama's wiretap. And my dad just went like, he just needs to shut his mouth. And I was like, normally I'd be with you. And I told my dad, and I was like, mind you, this is like 2016. I'm like, I think he only said stuff that he knows. And that was the first time and like months later, I remember we were both like, there it is. So my point of all of that is he's only going to come out or through a surrogate like Tulsi. He's only going to say that if he has all of it.
I think you're right about that. Yes.
This is his
And he
playbook. This
has
is an
been right
assumption.
about, I mean, there's that ball cap he wears sometimes now, that red cap.
Yeah.
Trump was right about everything,
Yeah. It's
kind of trolling everybody.
He is, but I mean, it'd be one thing if I was just saying this and it sounded like wishful thinking. No, this is based on his own history. This is what he does.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is kind of the biggest out, not Rosie O'Donnell's fat or Mexicans are rapists. This is the biggest kind of, I can't believe he just said that. I think that's what this is, which is, I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, this is nowhere near finished yet,
No.
and I think there's lots more yet to be revealed. But again, remember, they're going through thousands and thousands of pages,
Yeah.
paper and digital, that they're finding that were never meant to be found. were tucked away in places they thought maybe would not be found, and but they were.
God works in mysterious ways. I have no other explanation than it's God works in mysterious ways. I mean, 2 years ago, if you had said Trump is in office and they're actively investigating a 2016 treason attempt, I would have been like, I just don't want them to kill him. And then a year ago, I'd be like, I'm just happy they missed. Like,
Right, right.
man, I do try to remember that. Just, I mean, just even the time you and I have known each other, it's a stolen election and seemingly just spiraling downhill. It's pretty surreal to
It's
sit where
been a
we are
roller
right
coaster.
now.
Crazy times.
Well, like a grateful, like
Yes,
I never
yes.
thought we get to a point where it just, oh my God, it seems like it's kind of reversing course, which is, I don't know. But for now, Ms. Lopez, let's wrap this up. Thank you
Okay.
for your time as always. It's a pleasure
Thank
talking as
you.
always, and good luck with your what? Are you talking there or are you just visiting the
I
book?
will be speaking this
I
afternoon
thought. All right.
briefly, but yes, I will be speaking.
All righty. Well, this will be up tomorrow. I will text it to you. And for
Okay.
everybody listening, please go in the description, United West, and I have the Newsmax link as well as your Twitter and all that good stuff. Miss Lopez, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Tommy.
Yes, ma'am. Guys, thank you so much for watching.